Hey Hoops fans, it's Chris in the house. Thrilled to have you back with us on Tips and Streams, the go-to spot for your NBA wagering wisdom. I'm charged up to dive into the heart of today's NBA showdowns, bringing you a thrilling lineup of games. Get ready for a deep dive into our keen predictions and insider tips, tailored just for you. Stay with us, and let's leap into the heart of today's NBA betting insights. The first today's prediction is for the matchup between Milwaukee Bucks and Detroit Pistons. Tonight's clash at the Little Caesars Arena is a tale of two teams, the soaring Milwaukee Bucks, boasting an impressive 29-13 record, and the floundering Detroit Pistons, stuck at a dismal 438. This matchup is more than just a face-off between teams at opposite ends of the form spectrum. It's a tussle marked by the unique dynamics of their recent face-offs. The Bucks are an offensive juggernaut, dropping an eye-popping 124.6 points per game, good for second in the league. They're shooting a solid 50.0% from the field and a deadly 38% from downtown. However, their defense has been a bit sieve, letting through 120.6 points per game. Their knack for causing turnovers and drawing fouls adds a gritty edge to their defensive hustle, showcasing their physical brand of basketball. Meanwhile, the Pistons are leaking points defensively, giving up an average of 123 points per game, which puts them near the bottom at 28th in the league. They're particularly vulnerable to paint drives and perimeter shooting. On offense, they score 112.4 points per game, but their output is hit or miss, often falling short of their opponent's scoring rhythm. In their last showdown, the Bucks narrowly triumphed over the Pistons 141-135, with Milwaukee hitting a scorching 55.3% from the field and Detroit lighting it up from beyond the arc at 56.8%. But shooting fireworks isn't typical, which could play a big role in tonight's game. Looking at the dynamics, with the Bucks' offensive firepower and the Pistons' defensive woes, the smart money's on Milwaukee. However, the game's total points are tipped to stay shy of 248. This forecast banks on the unlikelihood of repeating the previous high-scoring drama, considering Milwaukee's top 10 defense against effective field goal percentage and Detroit's shooting roller coaster. Additionally, the Bucks' disciplined, if not stellar, defense, which steers clear of fouls, combined with their so-so free throw shooting, hints at fewer easy baskets for Detroit. To wrap it up, while the Bucks look set to bag the win with their superior form and stats, the game's total points tally is expected to hover below 248, taking into account Milwaukee's defensive prowess and a likely normalization in shooting efficiency, particularly from the Pistons camp. The next today's prediction is for the game between Cleveland Cavaliers and Orlando Magic. Let me break it down for you. The Cavs are storming into this clash, riding a wave of serious momentum. They're tearing up the court lately, stringing together wins that are sending shivers down their rivals' spines. Donovan Mitchell is the key player in this winning streak, elevating his play to fill the gap left by the sidelined Darius Garland and Evan Mobley. Mitchell's not just putting points on the board, he's dishing assists and snagging rebounds like a one-man army. His efficiency is sky high, spelling trouble for the Magic. Now flip the script to the Orlando Magic. They're grappling with the grind of back-to-back games. This season, these scenarios have been their Achilles heel, with a track record that's less than stellar. The Magic's got skills, no doubt, but battling exhaustion against a Cavs team that's firing on all cylinders, that's a tough ask. Looking at the past face-offs, the Cavs have had the upper hand over the Magic. They've not only bagged more wins in recent matchups, but also consistently outperformed when it comes to beating the spread. This is key, especially given the narrow odds set by the bookmakers for this bout. Diving into the stats, the Cavs are dominating in vital areas: points per game, shooting accuracy, beyond the arc, and rebounding. These are the game changers in the NBA. The Cavs' slick efficiency and board control could be the knockout punch. Injuries are part of the game, and here's the lowdown. The Cavs are down a few key players, but have shown they can roll with the punches. The Magic, on the other hand, are in better shape health-wise, but might be bogged down by fatigue. To sum it up, considering the Cavs' current hot streak, their statistical superiority, and the Magic's struggles in back-to-backs, I'm betting the Cleveland Cavaliers will not just beat the 1.5-point spread, but also clinch the win. Remember, this call is based on current form, historical head-to-head, and hard stats. Betting has its risks, so always play it smart and bet responsibly. The next today's prediction is for the game between San Antonio Spurs and Philadelphia 76ers. Let's break down the upcoming showdown between the San Antonio Spurs and the Philadelphia 76ers. We're talking hoops in the heart of Philly, where the 76ers, with their impressive 28-13 record, are set to battle the struggling Spurs, who are currently at a rough 8-34. The Sixers are bringing the heat with their dynamic offense, dropping an average of 120.03 points per game. They're nailing shots with a slick 47.66% from the field and a solid 37.48% from downtown. Their game isn't just about scoring, though. They're grabbing 43.58 boards per game, just nudging past the Spurs' 42.88. But let's give props to the Spurs for their team play, dishing out an impressive 29.07 assists per game. The Spurs are in a bit of a bind, shooting 45.77% from the field and 34.52% from the three-point line. Their defense is also a bit shaky, letting in 121.32 points per game, a stark difference from the Sixers' tighter defense, which only allows 111.80 points on average. Looking at the recent matchups in Philly, the Spurs have been on the back foot, securing only one win and covering the spread 3 times in their last 6 visits. The Sixers, on the other hand, are rocking a solid 10-3 record against the spread at home and are currently riding a hot streak with 5 straight wins. This home court advantage is no joke. Injuries are a game changer here. The Spurs might be missing Zach Collins and are definitely without Sidi Sissoko. The Sixers have their own worries with Mohamed Bamba and Jaden Springer's playing status up in the air, and both DeAnthony Melton and Robert Covington out. These could really shake up the team dynamics. Now let's talk game plan and trends. The 76ers, with their steady scoring and home court edge, look like the favorites. But the Spurs, despite their tough season, have been showing some fight, especially with an 8-2 record against the spread in their recent games. They've got some grit against Eastern Conference teams, so don't count them out. As we head into the final stretch, let's size up the odds. The Sixers are favored to win by 14 points, reflecting their dominance. But the Spurs have been beating the odds lately, and the Sixers might play it safe in a seal-the-deal-and-bounce kind of game. This makes me think the Spurs will cover the spread. The total points are pegged at 237, but considering the scoring trends, we might see fewer points than expected, pointing to an under. In short, the Philadelphia 76ers look set to clinch the win at home with their offensive and defensive strengths. But the San Antonio Spurs, not to be underestimated, are likely to cover the spread in what could be a tighter game than the odds imply. So the smart move? Bet on the 76ers for the win, but expect the Spurs to cover the spread, with total points falling under 237. Today's prediction is for the game between Memphis Grizzlies and Toronto Raptors. Tonight's hardwood clash is set to be a thriller as the Memphis Grizzlies go toe-to-toe with the Toronto Raptors. Both squads have been grappling with ups and downs this season. The Grizzlies are sitting at a 15-27 record, closely trailed by the Raptors with a 16-27 tally. This face-off is heating up, especially with both teams battling similar hurdles throughout the season. The Grizzlies are hitting the court with some noteworthy numbers. They're dropping an average of 107.8 points per game, sinking shots with a 43.8% success rate from the field, and netting 34.1% of their attempts from downtown. They're snagging an average of 42.1 rebounds per game. But their defense is raising eyebrows, letting opponents rack up 113.6 points per game. Recently, the Grizzlies have been shaky against the spread, going 1-4 in their last 5, and showing a parallel trend in straight-up games. Against teams from the Eastern Conference, they've managed only 3 wins out of 9, hinting at a wobbly performance, especially on defense. The Raptors, even without Jakob Poeltl in the mix, are stepping up their offensive game. They're putting up a solid 150.02 points per game, outscoring the Grizzlies. They've got a slick 48.26% field goal rate and are hitting 35.74% from the three-point line. They're slightly out-rebounding Memphis with an average of 43.86 per game. Yet, their defense isn't bulletproof either, conceding an average of 116.33 points. Like the Grizzlies, the Raptors have struggled recently, matching a 1-4 record against the spread and in straight-up games. However, they've been dominant against the Southwest Division, boasting a flawless 6-0 against the spread in recent clashes. Looking back at past showdowns in Toronto, the Grizzlies have had the upper hand, securing victories and beating the spread in 3 of their last 5 visits. But given the current dynamics and missing key players like Ja Morant and Desmond Bane, the Grizzlies might find this historical edge slipping. Weighing up the stats and recent forms, and considering the Raptors' home court edge against the Grizzlies' thinned-out roster, it looks like the Raptors might breeze past the 7-point spread. Plus, with both teams showing porous defenses, a high-scoring affair is on the cards, likely pushing the total points beyond 227. So, the bet's leaning towards the Toronto Raptors not just to clinch the win, but to also cover the 7-point spread, with a high chance of the total points soaring over 227. The next today's prediction is for the game between Charlotte Hornets and Minnesota Timberwolves. Tonight's showdown at the Target Center is no walk in the park for the Charlotte Hornets, as they dribble into a tough matchup against the Minnesota Timberwolves, who are soaring this season. The Hornets, lagging with a 9-31 record, are facing off against the high-octane Timberwolves, sitting pretty at 30-12. The Hornets' stats paint a picture of a team in a slump. They're netting an average of 108.3 points on 45.7% shooting, but their defense is dropping the ball, letting rivals rack up 119.8 points on average. LaMelo Ball is the Hornets' shining star, dropping 25.1 points and grabbing 5.3 rebounds per game, but even his flashy plays haven't flipped the script for Charlotte. Their three-pointers and free throws are on target at 35.9% and 79.3% respectively, but these numbers aren't game breakers. The Timberwolves, however, are playing some slick basketball, scoring 113.1 points per game with a solid 48.8% shooting. Their real highlight is a defense that's putting up a wall, holding opponents to a mere 107.3 points. The dynamic duo of Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns is tearing it up, with Edwards averaging 25.9 points and 5.4 rebounds, and Towns dishing out 21. 6 points and 3 assists. Rudy Gobert's rebounding game is off the charts, ranking him second in the league. Looking at past matchups, the Hornets have surprisingly outmaneuvered the Timberwolves, securing wins and beating the spread in 7 of their last 10 clashes. And in their last 4 face-offs in Minnesota, Charlotte has come out on top 3 times, covering the spread in each. But don't sleep on the Timberwolves' defense this season. They're leading the league in holding down opponent scores and shooting percentages. The Hornets, struggling to find their rhythm offensively, have barely hit the 100-point mark in their recent games. In terms of game pace, the Hornets and Timberwolves are neck and neck, with Charlotte slightly ahead. Given the current play styles, the Timberwolves, with their ironclad defense and efficient offense, are tipped to dominate. Charlotte's injury concerns, including Gordon Hayward and possibly LaMelo Ball, along with their offensive hurdles, could see them trailing behind. Minnesota's consistency and home court advantage make them the favorites to clinch this one. The slower tempo and Charlotte's scoring struggles hint at a low-scoring affair. In short, expect the Timberwolves to flex their defensive muscle at home, stifling the Hornets' scoring drives. With Charlotte's weak offense, especially in recent away games where they averaged just 98.8 points, it looks like a rough night for them. The smart money is on the Timberwolves to take the win, with total points likely falling short of the mark. My prediction, the Hornets won't surpass 103.5 points, facing a formidable Timberwolves defense. The next today's prediction is for the game between Boston Celtics and Dallas Mavericks. In the upcoming clash between the Boston Celtics and the Dallas Mavericks, we're looking at a hardwood duel loaded with intensity and strategic depth. The Celtics, flaunting a stellar 33-10 record, are set to unleash their high-octane offense against the Mavericks, holding a solid 24-18 stance. The showdown, set in the American Airlines Center in Dallas, brings an extra twist, with the Celtics bouncing back from a recent back-to-back game. The Celtics have been tearing up the court, racking up an average of 120.3 points per game this season, showcasing their offensive might. Stars like Kristaps Porzingis and Jaylen Brown have been lighting it up, with Porzingis dropping a hefty 32 points in their latest takedown of the Rockets. Brown, with a triple-double in the same bout, underscores the Celtics' depth and adaptability. On the flip side, the Mavericks, steered by the sensational Luka Doncic, are packing some serious heat. Doncic, coming off a 33-point, 13-rebound, 10-assist masterpiece, is the heartbeat of the Mavericks' offense. They're putting up 118.5 points per game, signaling they can match the Celtics' scoring frenzy. But defensively, the Celtics are tighter, giving up fewer points on average than the Mavericks. This defensive edge might just tip the scales in a high-octane matchup like this. Looking at recent matchups, the Celtics have pocketed the last 2 wins against the Mavericks, proving they can handle this particular adversary. Yet, with the Mavericks playing on their home turf, their home court advantage is a game-changer. Reviewing the stats and trends, many predictions are hinting at a tighter points game than expected. Both squads are scoring juggernauts, so a high-point showdown wouldn't be a shock. However, recent patterns are tilting towards a more subdued scoring game. Considering these elements, the Celtics, despite their formidable stats and offensive firepower, might find the Mavericks a tough challenge, especially with Dallas rested and playing on familiar ground. The Mavericks' ability to beat the spread, combined with their rest and home advantage, suggests they could narrowly triumph over the Celtics in this tight contest. To wrap it up, while the Celtics are a force to reckon with, the Mavericks, energized by their rest and home court, seem set to beat the spread in this face-off. It's a game where the smallest details could swing the result, but Dallas looks to have the upper hand, especially given the Celtics' back-to-back game situation and the potential absence of key player Jrue Holiday. My money is on the Dallas Mavericks to cover the plus 3-point spread. The next today's prediction is for the game between Chicago Bulls and Phoenix Suns. As the Chicago Bulls lock horns with the Phoenix Suns, let's dive deep into this epic clash to predict the game's flow. The Bulls, sitting at 21-23, are hitting the court as underdogs with a 5.5-point handicap against the Suns. Despite some rough patches, the Bulls recently flexed their muscles against the Grizzlies, clinching a 125-96 victory. Their sharp shooting and slick three-point game were on full display. Ayo Dosunmu emerged as a standout, signaling the Bulls' offensive firepower. Yet their away game stats raise eyebrows, averaging just shy of 110 points, a slight dip from their overall 110.6 PPG. On the flip side, the Suns, boasting a 23-18 record, step in as the frontrunners. They're on a hot streak with 5 straight wins, scoring north of 120 points lately. Their scoring synergy and board-crashing prowess are noteworthy. Playing on their turf, the Suns average a robust 117 PPG, with Devin Booker and Kevin Durant tipped as the main playmakers. Booker is pegged to drop 28 points, grab 5 rebounds, and dish out 8 assists. Historically, the Suns have had the upper hand against the Bulls, bagging the last 8 faceoffs. This includes outperforming the spread in 6 of these games, especially when the spread was over 5.5. In Phoenix, the Suns' dominance is even more pronounced, with the Bulls managing just 1 win and covering the spread only twice in their last 4 visits. Injury updates show the Bulls without Zach LaVine and Lonzo Ball, potentially denting their scoring strength. The Suns, comparatively healthier, have only Bol on the sidelines. A crucial factor is the Suns' back-to-back game scenario. They've fared decently in such instances this season, with a 4-3 record, which could influence their stamina and consistency in this game. Despite being underdogs, the Bulls have shown grit, winning 6 of their last 8 games. But their record against the Suns, particularly in Phoenix, is less encouraging. The Suns, finding their stride recently, could leverage this momentum in the upcoming game. Weighing the stats, home advantage, past encounters, and current forms, the odds tilt in favor of the Suns snagging a win. However, the Bulls might just beat the 6-point spread, with the total points expected to soar over 228.5. This prediction aligns with the trend of their last 6 meetings, where the scoreline consistently exceeded 228.5 points. In summary, this matchup is anyone's game, but the Suns, riding on recent success and historical edge, especially on their home court, along with the Bulls' injury struggles, are poised to emerge victorious. The Bulls should keep it close, beating the 6-point spread, in what's anticipated to be a high-octane scoring showdown, breaking past the 228.5 points. The last prediction for today is for the matchup between Atlanta Hawks and Sacramento Kings. In the upcoming hardwood clash between the Atlanta Hawks and the Sacramento Kings, a few critical elements stand out that are pivotal in shaping our prediction. The Hawks are currently grappling with a challenging 18-24 record and are facing this matchup minus some key players, including their ace, Trae Young, and the skilled DeAndre Hunter. This loss could seriously impact their game, particularly in scoring and setting up plays. However, DeJounte Murray has been the Hawks' beacon of consistency, dropping an average of 21 points, dishing out 4.8 assists, and snagging 4.8 rebounds per game, offering a ray of hope for the team. The Sacramento Kings, sporting a healthier 23-18 record, have shown a mixed performance palette recently. They're in a better spot than the Hawks, but aren't without their own hurdles. The Kings are sharpshooters from downtown, ranking second in the league with an impressive 15.1 three-pointers per game and a 37.2% success rate from the perimeter. Their star player, De'Aaron Fox, has been spearheading their charge with an average of 27.9 points, 5.8 assists, and 4.2 rebounds per game. Recent patterns suggest the Kings have been steadier when it comes to beating the point spread, hinting at a potential upper hand in this showdown. Plus, their stronghold at the Golden One Center might be a game changer. They've been racking up an extra 6.2 points on average in their home games, which could tilt the scales. Looking at their past face-offs, the Hawks have had a slight edge, clinching wins and beating the spread in 5 of their last 10 encounters with the Kings. Yet, current forms and team dynamics might switch up this narrative. With Trae Young off the court, the Hawks might actually tighten up their defense, a segment where Young's skills have been under scrutiny. This could lead to a lower scoring game than expected. Conversely, the Kings' offensive might, especially their three-point barrage, is something to watch out for. Wrapping up, the Hawks have a commendable history against the Kings and might gain from a more solid defensive front without Young. However, the Kings' command of their home court and their explosive offense, particularly from beyond the arc, give them a significant advantage. Considering the Hawks' recent road woes and injury concerns, it seems the Kings might take the win. But my bet's on the Hawks to beat what seems like a generous 9-point spread, with the high-scoring game but likely falling short of the total 237-point line.